Kenya, Jane Marriott, on the monumental show of global solidarity as countries band together.
Welcome to this conversation on the COVID-19 response, and specifically we're looking at COVID-19 vaccine and the developments that have been there. What are the current news on this particular front in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic? I'm Dr. Mercy Korir, and we are joined by the British High Commissioner to Kenya, Jane Marriott. And just going straight into this conversation on the pandemic, I mean, it's been 9 months in some countries, 6 months in Kenya, and we've been trying to, grapple with the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. But there's hope with the trials and everything that is going on to getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There have been candidates that have been successful. What do you have to say about this?
Well, first of all, a global pandemic means that, a vaccine isn't successful until everyone has access and you have sort of global herd immunity. So it's a race that we're all in together. And the work that's been going on by scientists across the world to try and get to a vaccine at this speed is absolutely unprecedented. And my heartfelt thanks to all of the global scientists who've been involved in doing this. Yesterday, our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, chaired a conference with the UN, the World Health Organization, and South Africa's Health Minister to focus very much on the next stage of COVID vaccine called COVAX, which is about how do you ensure that there is equitable access to a vaccine, that it doesn't just end up in the hands of those who can afford it, but it ends up in the hands of those who need it across the world.
So 70 million Kenya shillings was put into this. So will it just be about access to the vaccine once it has been developed, or is it straight from now when we are trying to get a vaccine that works? Where exactly does this funding come into play?
So vaccines are really expensive, and the UK is one of the biggest contributors now to both the World Health Organization and also to COVAX, which is a vaccine facility. And I was thinking about how to describe this earlier. I think it's a bit like, your seeds have run out. And you need new seeds, but you don't know which new seeds are going to work. And you can go to supplier A who comes to your village, or supplier B or C or D, but you don't actually know which seeds are going to work. So you buy some seeds from person A and they don't work, and your livelihood is gone. Your neighbour bought seeds from person B and they flourished and they're brilliant, and your neighbour is now a very rich woman. But what COVAX does is it basically says you and your neighbours get together, you all put some money in, and then it doesn't matter whose seeds are the most successful, you all benefit. So it's sort of spread betting, I suppose, would be the other analogy to use. So people who are contributing to the vaccine where you can, and for sort of lower middle income countries in particular who perhaps can't put money in, COVAX ensures that spread betting happens and they will get the vaccine in return.
Why is it important for countries like the UK, who are able to put in some money to the pot to buy the seeds? Why is it important for them to do this for low and middle income countries?
I think because with something like a global pandemic, it's not over, and to be honest, COVID may never be over. We're going to end up in a situation where it is managed with vaccines, with measures, a bit like the influenza at the moment. But say you immunise everybody in the UK and all British people are now immunised. Well, we're still going to travel overseas. Other people are still going to come to our country, so you can't isolate yourselves. Vaccines viruses don't know any national boundaries, so we have to be in this together. And for me, that's one of the real strengths of COVID vaccine. At a time when, to be honest, it feels a bit like the world is fragmenting, COVAX and the facility of bringing everybody together is a really important way of saying, global threat, we're going to come together and find a solution, not a national solution, a global solution.
So in trying to find this solution, definitely for any vaccine trial, any medical trial, there has to be a clinical phase to it.
Yes.
Are there plans to collaborate, or are there ongoing plans to collaborate with African countries like Kenya and maybe spread it across all African countries so that we get, you know, a vaccine that is representative of the many diverse people in the world as possible?
Well, all 54 African countries have signed up for COVAX to say they would like to be recipients when the vaccines are ready. There are numerous vaccines out there led by different scientist research collaborations countries, and the idea of COVAX is they're sort of spread betting on all of them. The one that is probably closest to home is the one that's being developed by AstraZeneca and the University of Oxford in collaboration with international partners, which is now at the stage where we've done human trials in the UK and are developing those, and we're now working with South Africa and Kenya as to the countries that have got the best domestic research science capabilities to be able to develop those trials further.
Okay. So you need expertise, in-country expertise. And we know Africa is rich. I personally believe that Africa is rich in terms of human resource.
Absolutely.
So how are you working to make sure that the human resource that is needed for these trials are available, or even if they're not available, there are measures to make sure that they are being trained, they have enough capacity to carry on these trials, not just for the COVID-19 vaccine, but even any other pandemic that may come to us?
Well, actually, we've very much believed in scientific solutions out of this continent for a very long time. So we've had a 30-year partnership between the Wellcome Trust, British Medical Specialism Area, University of Oxford and KEMRI, which is obviously a Kenyan institution, for over 30 years. So we've already worked together on a vaccine for Ebola, which is obviously, you know, amazing, groundbreaking stuff, malaria bed nets, pneumonia viruses. So actually this is just kind of the next stage in collaboration. And there's going to be more global pandemics, there's going to be more viruses. So, you know, it's lasted 30 years already, this partnership. It will go on, you know, forever in the future as long as it is needed.
Okay. So any other areas that the British government is working on in Kenya's public health space?
Well, one is a COVID one, which is in our science technology network expertise. So we've got a tech hub here that we launched over the summer with Kenyan entrepreneurs, Kenyan specialists, Kenyan scientists to focus on getting the best technological, innovative solutions to everything. So we did a collaboration on COVID response earlier this year, and we're building up that science tech hub more generally to be able to harness the best and brightest of Kenya for the benefit of Kenya. Because, you know, we believe that that is the right thing to do. More globally, more widely on the health side, we've had partnerships in Kenya at the national level and since 2010 at the county level with maternal health in particular, tackling malaria, supporting health workers, and we have close relationships with the Ministry of Health and medical expertise here in Kenya to share best practice and learn from each other.
Okay. So at the end of, let's say, the year, or when there's some promise with the vaccine, what do you hope for Kenya?
Well, to be honest, I think Kenya has handled COVID incredibly well. I was at the COVID conference earlier this week, chaired by the President. And, you know, the fact that Kenya reacted so quickly from closing international airspace, which personally gave me many headaches because we had lots of trapped British tourists here, but it was absolutely the right thing to do to manage the early caseload. And Kenya and a lot of other countries across this continent have done a fantastic job at keeping the growth sort of low and slow, as we call it, whereas in the UK, you'll see we're now entering our second wave. It's been a very different situation. And I think the reason why it's been handled so well here has been the government's very early and quick response. So, you know, we're a long way from out of the woods yet. I thought the President's caution on Monday, which, you know, yes, we're sort of prioritising the economic side of things a bit more. We're loosening up the economy a bit more here, but we need to be careful, you know. So, you know, when you're going to those bars to see your friends that you've not seen for ages, just be sensible. Just be sensible.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your time and your insights on COVAX and the future of COVID-19. We have been talking to the British High Commissioner to Kenya, Her Excellency Jane Marriott. I'm Dr. Mercy Korir.
Indeed, and thank you to Dr. Mercy Korir for that exclusive interview there with the British High Commissioner to Kenya, Jane Marriott. Now let's move on. The family of Paul Rusesabagina, portrayed as a hero in a Hollywood movie about Rwanda's 1994 genocide, said on Thursday they fear for his life while he is being detained in prison.